The Moto G5 and the Moto G5 Plus were a stuff of comparison even when the phones were only rumored back in December 2016. But now that the phones are official and we have used them, in this video we'll show you how these two phones compare and which one you should buy. Both the Moto G and the G5 Plus come from Motorola and look like the descendants of the original Moto Z design that was introduced by the company last year. Both the G5 and the G5 Plus have a very handy form factor. The G5 has a removable back cover, which means that you can remove the battery of G5, but the G5 Plus has a metal unibody design, which means the battery is sealed inside and you cannot change it if you want to. Coming to the display part, both the smartphones have exactly similar display. That is IPS display with Full HD resolution and a Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on top. But the only difference is that the G5's screen size is 5 inches while the G5 Plus has a slightly bigger screen size at 5.2 inch. The major difference is in the hardware that both the phones ship with. The G5 ships with Snapdragon 430 with 3 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage, while the G5 Plus ships with a better Snapdragon 625 chipset with 3 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage for one variant, with 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage for the other variant. While the company and the conventional wisdom would want you to believe that the Moto G5 Plus has better hardware, it does actually, but when you use the phone, you'll not find much of a difference because both the phones run very similar software. Both the G5 and the G5 Plus run Android 7.0 with stock interface, which is well optimized on both the devices. So we didn't find any lag on the devices and the operation is very smooth. Though the other specs that would matter, and not only on paper, is that the G5 Plus has a better 12 megapixel camera with dual pixel technology. The G5 Plus's camera focuses much faster than the G5. On the other hand, the G5 has the conventional 30 megapixel sensor that is also quite good but not as great as that on the G5 Plus. Another difference is that you get 4K recording on G5 Plus. Though you might not use it in your daily life, it is still a feature that you might want. Both the phones have a 5 megapixel front shooter. While Moto G5 Plus is of course a better device with better hardware, it is also more expensive than the G5. But since both the smartphones use the same software, that is the Android 7.0, it doesn't make much of a difference if you are buying a smartphone for your daily use. And this gives Moto G5 a better value for money.